Hello, I'm zip tying rings together. These are ceramic rings, and I'm zip tying them together right here. So, not irrelevant, but that's what I'm doing. I had therapy today, and it's funny. I was talking about obviously like how I've been kind of processing life and how I've been trying to walk through things, and recently I have noticed that I was coming at life at a very hateful view, and I spend and spent a lot of time like just hating on things. Like I was like very much so just like in the negative all the time, and like finding joy out of that, which like there's jokes and there's times for that, but like that was the main way in which I would kind of find and still somewhat do like enjoyment in things, and like, you know, things being funny. And like there's a whole thing about that, about like how to cope with the world in the negative, but then there's also like, oh, what are you looking for? Like, are you looking for the negative? And I was looking a lot into the negative, and I was looking for the negative, and that I've been very much so the past week, but also like weeks, been really actually trying to like redirect. And not just like redirect, but also like redirecting and reinventing almost, and being like, okay, if we're not going to focus on the negative, then what are we going to focus on? Like if we're not going to focus on all of the poor shit, what are we going to focus on then instead? Like I use this example a lot where I'm like, don't think of an elephant, you know? And it's like, if I say to you, don't think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant. If I say, get the fuck, hey, my cats are behind here being upset. Stop. You guys are nice. You're friends. They are friends. Tawny, come here. There's the cat that was running away. But that's my thing, is I'm like, if I say, don't think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant. If I say, think of a giraffe, you're going to think of a giraffe. And that's just how that is. And so, like, recently, again, I've been trying to not think of negative, but you can't just not think of negative. You have to think of other things and speak positively, act positively, etc. I went recently to a concert. It was such a fucking beautiful concert. I loved it so much. And the next morning I had therapy. And that was today. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason to me, the word wisdom and like wise, to me, always had a specific definition. And I never Googled it. I have not still to this right now even Googled it. But to me, the like vibe of the word wise always, or wisdom, like always meant like kind of older. I don't know. Like it always to me was just perceived as older. But I was like, that's not what it is though. It's not the fact that it's older. It's not the fact that like someone do that somewhere else. Sorry, you shouldn't have to see him. But I couldn't figure it out. I was like, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, act wiser. But not act. Like, I'm trying to be wiser. And I was like, but I don't know how to, like, do that. Because I don't really feel like that's something that you can just do. And I don't know. That doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I don't feel like you can just act older or, you know, act a certain, be like, oh, I'm wise now. Like, it's not like a one-time decision. It's like a thing that you have to like actively live as. My cat's chasing an earplug. That's cool. And it was funny because I said this to my therapist. I was like, yeah, like I've been trying to embody a more wise part of myself, or a more wise version of myself. And she told me, like, I don't know if it's the definition, again, I haven't looked it up, but it was what she said about it. And like what wisdom is. She was like, wisdom is an experience not wasted. And that made so much sense to me, because I have been recently feeling a lot of guilt over my life, and guilt over how I've like chosen to act and over in so many different ways. But yet I'm like trying to learn from them still, and trying to choose, you know, to find lessons within them. But then it's like, is that always the answer? No. But it is right now, and it's like, that shouldn't be the answer when something is like horrid to you, but at the same time, like, some things are so gut-wrenchingly awful, and it's like, all you can do is try to do something with it. You know, like all I've been trying to do recently is be like finding something to take away from great experiences, from horrible experiences, from like really angry experiences, you know? Like they're confused because there's more rings in here. But like that's all I've been trying to do, and that the fact that that was like the definition of it was like so perfect to me, because I was like, yeah, it's like it's not the fact that like, oh, I'm older, but it's the fact that like I think the older that I'm getting, the more that I'm like that I'm realizing to look at everything that I do in that way. You know, I'm learning to just be like, well, if something happened and I beat the dead horse so badly to where you don't, there's not even the bones or the ash of the horse anymore because I talked about it so gut-wrenchingly much, what did that do for me? It didn't do anything for me. And it's like, there's been times where I've like tried to connect with people over hating, and it's like those weren't, and I'm now learning from those experiences when it's like, I'm like, those are not experiences that I think are like substantial or like, you know, positive, like they're not positive. And it's like, I've felt so like shameful recently being like, wow, I had so many of these like not good, like negative experiences, or like so many of this, like, and I'm not someone who thinks of, I don't really choose to think of things as a waste of time. I really don't. I don't believe in that. And that's what that is. It's like, I don't think anything is a waste of time, because I think that like it's so much more worth going through things to then like learn from them and then make decisions from those. Like if I'm friends with someone and I'm gluten-free, and if they're not respectful or nice, at least nice or kind about the fact that I'm gluten-free, that's not a good experience to go through. It's not okay to really have a friend who's like, oh, I don't like that you're, like, whatever, I'm making it up. But, like, is that a good experience to go through? No. But then, when I go to have other friends in the future, past that, I then am able to make a decision based off of my experience about what kind of friends I want to have and how they, you know what I mean? Like, it just, or vice versa. Like, if I hurt somebody in the past and I'm like, oh, that was deeply, cynically evil of me, maybe let's figure out why I did that, or how to move forwards without hurting people like that again. And then that's another thing, is because of the guilt, like, feeling guilt is one thing, but then also, like, doing something about the guilt and being like, I'm not gonna feel guilty detrimentally so about a thing in the immense intensity that I am forever, because I need to be able to take some sort of lesson from it and learn from it, and then be able to just like not make the same decisions. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you were a bad friend to somebody one time, or maybe a few times, but it's like if you're gonna keep making the same mistakes, it means you're not reflecting on it. You know? Like, if you make the same mistake over and over, that's the issue. If you make one mistake and you take the time and you slow down, which is what I'm trying so hard to do right now, like, I'm trying genuinely to slow the fuck down and, like, reestablish myself, you know, refigure myself to who I even fucking want to be to myself. Oh my God. Like, these are really important things, and it's like, if I'm gonna go make the same mistakes over and over, that's not reflecting on things. That's not taking time to, like, actually sit with things. Versus, you know, are you trying to fight? Hiya. Versus, like, taking the time to slow down, settle down, take time with an experience or a thought, and, like, not waste the experience and not waste, like, processing what things happen to you. Then, like, you can actually take something from things and then implement it further. And it's like, that's always going to be what it is. That's how things are always going to go. There's always going to be new things that you can, like, learn and go off of. This is my zip tie thing. Okay, bye.